Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where South African politics is always center stage and never short on drama. Today, we are diving into a story that's equal parts heartbreaking, infuriating, and painfully familiar. President Cyril Ramaphosa is asking the High Court in Pretoria to delay a court case that seeks R167 million in constitutional damages from his government. But this isn't just any lawsuit. It's brought by families of apartheid victims, people whose pain was recorded by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, but whose justice has been endlessly postponed. So what's going on? Why is Ramaphosa asking the court to put the brakes on a case that deals with some of South Africa's deepest wounds? Let's take it from the top. 25 families, all of whom lost loved ones or suffered under apartheid, are taking the president and his administration to court. Their complaint: that the government failed to investigate and prosecute apartheid-era crimes, as recommended by the TRC, for over 2 decades. These are not new demands. The TRC wrapped up in 2003. Since then, the state has moved slowly, if at all, on most of the serious human rights violations it identified. Families have waited. Many have died waiting. Now, with this lawsuit, the families want 2 things: financial compensation for the state's failure, and a formal inquiry into why nothing was done. They are joined by the Foundation for Human Rights, which says the government's inaction is a violation of constitutional rights. But just when it seemed like this would head to trial, Ramaphosa threw in a curveball. In May, before the court hearings began, he agreed to the idea of a commission of inquiry to look into these delays. It's chaired by retired Constitutional Court Justice Sisi Khampepe. This commission is supposed to dig into some uncomfortable questions. Did anyone inside the SAPS or NPA block investigations into apartheid crimes? Was there political pressure to let those old cases quietly fade away? It sounds noble on paper. But once settlement talks broke down, especially on the issue of damages, Ramaphosa's team re-entered court with a fresh request that the case be postponed until the Khampepe Commission finishes its work. Here's the problem: that could take years. And the families say they've waited long enough. In fact, they argue this delay tactic is unconstitutional in itself. Some of the surviving relatives are now elderly. They say they simply don't have the luxury of time anymore. And you know what? They're not wrong. This isn't the first time a government has used a process as a shield to avoid accountability. We've seen this before. Commissions are formed, reports are written, findings are filed, and then nothing. These families are tired of that cycle. They're saying no. They're demanding that the court hear their case now, not after another long investigation, not after another round of excuses. Let's talk about what this really means. If the court sides with Ramaphosa, it means the question of damages, of accountability, of closure, all of it gets punted to some point down the line. And that line could be years away, if it ever comes at all. But if the court sides with the families, it could set a legal precedent. It could force the state to pay for failing to carry out justice. And it might finally crack open the vault on who really sabotaged post-apartheid accountability efforts. Now that's where things get spicy. Because if the Khampepe Commission does uncover evidence of sabotage, political pressure, or institutional cover-ups, it could implicate past and present figures in government, law enforcement, and even the ruling party itself. Let's not forget, many of the operatives involved in apartheid-era policing and spying were never prosecuted. Some of them were absorbed into democratic structures. Others faded into retirement. But a few still lurking behind the scenes. So delaying justice isn't just bureaucratic, it may well be protecting people. That's what makes this case so explosive. That's why Ramaphosa's legal team wants it postponed. Because once the court starts digging, it won't just be about why things were delayed, it'll be about who delayed them, and why. And here's something else: the families have made it clear. They're not going to take this lying down. Their affidavit to the court pulls no punches. They say the government is trying to bury the case in paperwork, hoping time will do what politics hasn't, make the victims disappear. They also say they won't participate in the commission when it comes to damages. That's a matter for the courts, not some slow-moving inquiry. And who can blame them? It's been nearly 30 years since apartheid officially ended. Yet the promises of justice remain hollow for many families. The TRC's final report didn't just call for truth, it called for prosecutions. It called for reparations. And those calls were ignored. Now, with every year that passes, the window of opportunity narrows. Witnesses die. Memories fade. Evidence vanishes. And that's the real danger of these delays. This case is about more than money. It's about whether post-apartheid South Africa will ever deliver on its promises, or whether it will keep kicking justice down the road until the road runs out. So what happens now? The High Court in Pretoria will hear arguments and decide whether to let the case proceed or grant Ramaphosa his delay. Whatever the outcome, this case is going to echo across the country. Because it forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth, justice delayed is not justice at all. And let's be honest, if the government can ignore the TRC for 25 years without consequences, what's to stop it from doing it for another 25? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Ramaphosa is genuinely trying to investigate wrongdoing, or is this just another tactic to avoid paying up and protecting the past? Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, subscribe for more sharp political commentary, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay alert, stay informed, and never stop asking hard questions. See you next time.